honky tonks and pretty women.
Yeah.
Lord, I'm still right there with them.
All right, bro.
Singing about
5,
the crowd.
4,
Lord.
3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Steer the Ship Podcast, man. It's been a while, man, but we are back, bro. We are back. So, introduce yourself, man.
Hi, guys. My name is JMO713.
Hi, guys. My name is Johnny Woe at Mr. Johnny Woe. Yeah, so we're back, man. We're back. It's been a while. But like, if you are a regular listener, if we have any regular listeners out there, you know, we usually do sports podcasts, but about football, but football season is over. Man, I gotta work on these pads right here, man, for like, you know, the applause and all that shit. Let me just try something a little bit. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. It's gonna mess with the music. So anyways, man, so we're back, and yeah, we're just gonna be over here talking. Somehow we're gonna draw up a nice show for you guys, and we're gonna keep up with this.
For sure we will.
Yes, sir. So anyways, let's just get started, man. I'm gonna let you take over, and I guess we're gonna start by like how we've been doing so far. All right, go ahead, man.
How I've been doing all right, I guess. Life been lifing. What I mean by that is just everyday expected problems. Nothing more to really speak on other than just regular shit, you know, helping people through things, getting through your own shit, trying your best to be as best as you can be, and trying to figure out what version of that you that is, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, because that's what I try to spend. I think I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the best version of me is.
Same here. I've been doing the same thing, which I think is gonna lead back into what we want to talk about today, which I want to title it as self-love. I want to talk about self-love a little bit like that, and I guess we're just gonna have to crack this one open, you know what I'm saying? So like how you were saying, just getting back to like, you know, knowing yourself, right, and helping out others, right?
Yeah.
How I feel is that you have to get back to who you are in this society, like, you know, what we live in right now. I have to say, it's kind of crazy how I say, like, I feel like we living in evil times, because that's like a war against us, not only physically but mentally as well, and spiritually. And sometimes we have to isolate ourselves from all the bullshit in the world in order to get back to who we are and what's important in our life. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, you know, you gotta just cut off all the fucking noise, all the distraction from hindering you to being the best version of yourself. That's what I've been going through as well, man. I can say I've been going through my transformation as well, with, like, you know, the cutting out of the partying. Instead of me saying partying, stopping all the fucking drugs and all the bullshit that I was indulging in and whatnot. And I feel better. I feel real good. And I don't want to go back to that version of me. That version was really knocking me down. And not really just that. I feel like it was like the influences of all the shit that I also see and I hear. You know what I mean? Like I said, this is a war, not just against you physically, not to harm you physically, but to also break you mentally and spiritually, to where it's like you're nothing. I feel like there are powers that be that want us to walk around here like zombies and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like you just have to cut off all that shit, go through your isolation period in order to find who you are, you know? And I feel like, you know, we all need to do that. Sometimes you need to just cut off things. I feel like by us chasing something, we kind of go off the radar to our true purpose, or whatever purpose that we have set forth in life, whether it can be something that you placed down there, or it was already predestined for you to walk.
A lot of
you know
times, look, and I don't even consider it, because I try to put it in more of a general, and it's going to come full circle on what I'm saying, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it, is I don't feel like a lot of people are chasing, I feel like a lot of people are running from. So I feel like
that's a good thing to say right there, running from.
A lot of this hard for a lot of people to sit in the closet, cut off the light, and leave everything else on the outside for an hour is because they don't want to deal with their own thoughts and their own mind and their own feelings. And
that part.
So they running from those things by staying entertained and staying distracted, because the word is distracted. That's what a lot of people are. They're distracted from themselves, though. To the point where you look up and decades are passing and we hadn't even put enough time to even know ourselves, or we still reacting, hadn't grown a lot, because we might think we know ourselves, but we hadn't grown a lot. Not even say we as in me and you, because I feel like me and you are a part of the group that takes time to think and put time into ourselves and take accountability. But I actually deal with people that are willing to change, but they never knew that what they were doing just was so flawed, because they never took the time to even sit in that closet, not literally, but figuratively, like take that time to themselves where they don't have distractions to keep them away from what they got going on.
Oh yeah, man. One thing about it I could definitely say is like how you say sit in the closet. Let's just give it to the people, be like, sit in the dark. Just sit in the dark with nothing on. Sit there. And I'm telling you, that's when your thoughts are going to really just be going rampant. That we call that in the spiritual community, shadow work. You have to confront your shadows in order to, I guess, advance. I'm fumbling with my words, but I want to say to forgive yourself. Because the main thing, because how you said it, right? People don't want to sit with their thoughts. That's a guilt. That's some type of a guilt that's eating at you, but you got to confront it no matter what. It's like it can really be haunting, or it could like be shameful. You have to step to that shadow and you have to accept it instead of fight it, because you can't fight what happened in the past. You can't fight what happened in the past, but you can accept what happened in the past, learn from what happened in the past in order for you to make better judgment going on into the future. That's how I see that. So, yeah, shadow work is one of those things that you will encounter whenever you're going through the process of self-love, and it's not something that's gonna come instantly. It's not, and that's the fucked up thing about that too, right there in this world. We are people that want instant gratification. We want it now instead of putting in the work in order to obtain what you want. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's a real process, because it's like you really have to give time to yourself, but then it's also a trickle down effect too, because when you're really thinking about it, you're a boss. You hear me? Because other people rely on you as well, and you want to be the best version for those people. And I'm talking about the people that really matter, not just the people that we want in our lives. I'm talking about the people that actually play important roles in our lives, like our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, brothers, cousins, aunts, bloodline. You know what I mean? We care about those, and we gotta be, and as a man, I feel like, man, we should have that thought in our minds, like we gotta be leaders. We have to, but a leader is not somebody that's born. A leader is somebody that I could say is crafted. You know what I mean? You could become a leader, but you have to know how to lead. And in order for you to lead, you have to know yourself. In order to know yourself, you have to be isolated by yourself, and you need to you need to get rid of all the toxins around you, whether it can be drugs or entertainment, whatnot, and really get back to yourself. And it takes a long time. It's not no overnight process. I'll say, when you're going through this period of self-love, look at yourself as a plant. You need a lot of attention, which is like you need water, you need sunlight, you know what I'm saying? You need proper airflow and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you need to be left alone in order for you to grow, because plants grow. They truly grow in the dark. They truly grow in the dark. The light gives them their energy, their photosynthesis that they need to eat and, get strong and all that stuff. But they truly grow when they're sleeping in the nighttime. You know what I mean? It takes time. It's not no overnight process on the self-love thing. But anyways, we got some other stuff we're going to talk about on this, right? Come on, I need you to help me out, boy. I know I was preaching. Was I preaching? Was I preaching the gospel?
Preaching. I'm going to say you was running it.
Yeah, man, I was on that gospel.
No, that's just real shit, because even with myself, keeping it on me, because that's the experience that's one I'm speaking of right now. This isn't coming from anywhere else. Is I spent the years alone, a lot of it wasn't by choice.
And yeah, you know this well too.
Because I had to go through what I went through and get through this shit. And I went through that alone. But in that process, I learned to be alone. And after I got through it, I stayed by myself to learn more about myself in a better state when I wasn't forced to be by myself, right? But I got to a point where it was almost the opposite effect, to where it was like, now when I was telling you earlier, I was perfect in the perfect situation, being by myself, moving how I move, nothing's distracting me. But how can I operate with distractions? Am I healed enough to where distractions aren't as distracting no more? Am I healed enough to where I don't want to slap the shit out of a nigga and I can just say, you know what, bro? God bless you. And walk my ass off without that ego and pride killing me? That's the part that I had to start testing out. You know what I'm saying? So when I allowed myself to be back around people at first, and at first, I'm not going to lie to you, I want to slap shit out of a nigga. And I want to burn a bitch. No cap, just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to talk all politically correct, just keeping it a buck on how I felt. So what I did was, that's when I went back to the lab and I had to evaluate myself and say, damn, I was cool alone by myself. I had all the answers. But once I got back in the nigga face and that energy hit me, I want to slap the nigga instead of saying, man, what's your problem? What you got a problem with me for? Like trying to go ahead and get through that shit so we can all live and be okay. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just seeing whoever, like best man live type situation.
Straight up.
So when I step back out now, I do move more into with who I am. When it's a distraction, I point it out as a distraction and I focus back on what I need to focus on. When it's an energy that I'm not comfortable with, I acknowledge the energy, then I put it in context and I move forward. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a threatening, and if I'm not at risk, I ain't got nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? If I am at risk, is there a way I can move around? If I'm at risk and can't move around, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like but I have steps to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like creating that distance between you and the bullshit to where you have those steps to like counteract the bullshit and have different ways of dealing with it.
You want to share those steps with the people?
My first step,
like, because it's like, because that's a good, my fault, I'm gonna let you go, but because that's a good thing, because it's like, man, we always gonna have some confrontations in life, even though I'm talking about the isolation shit and on self-love, that we still got to go out here in this world. So it's like, what will be those steps on how you deal with the confrontation, you know what I'm saying? To where I guess the outcome is better for you and say op.
I try to be more mindful than emotional because no matter how I feel, I learn how to have a fast beating heart to where my adrenaline is pumping, but still be thinking positive shit. Like motherfucker just said some shit that just got me going, but in my head I'm like, it ain't even worth it. Live to fight it. Like, you know, like, let's move forward from this. Like, does this have anything to do with what I need to get done in life? And I start putting everything in context, and I think that's what it is a lot of things when we are in situations, pride and ego kills us. So whatever kills the ego and pride will be the first thing that we should like try and help ourselves with, because that's literally the reason if somebody's apologize, we won't accept their apology. That's the reason why a conversation has to turn deadly. A confrontation fist fight has to turn deadly.
Thoughtful over emotion.
It's because pride.
Thought over emotion.
To think you a hoe. So I feel like be yourself at all times. That's always been my goal, because I'm establishing who I am at all times. So no matter what, I am who I am. If a dude think I'm a hoe, for one, I don't care. I'm not gonna let no one treat me like one. So if he has that thought, he can keep that. That's like for him. But his actions towards me would be, of course, something I deal with myself. But
okay, so that's one. Pretty much be thoughtful of it. So what will be the second step? Because if it comes down to that right there, can I add in a second step on this one? I say the second step is you have to step to the confrontation and find out what the real problem is. I feel a man is a problem solver. He's not a person to add to the problem. He's gonna find a fucking solution. That's one of my definitions of a real man, a problem solver.
That's after you have to evaluate the problem.
But how can you not evaluate the problem if you don't step to the problem and try to?
This is how example I have is dealing with someone that pissed me off. Right. This isn't a situation where it's dealing with a woman and it's just something that's not going cool. It's with dealing with the man, and the man makes I want to put my hands in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like me confronting this person is the best idea. I think distance sometimes be the best idea too. Like sometimes that's why I say it's a time for everything, and it's a way to deal with everything. You can't deal with it all with distance. You can't deal it all with confrontation.
So with that, when you
sometimes I do feel like if it's you stepped on my lawn conversation. Hey, sir, I'm sorry, man. My bad. I didn't even know that. I like whatever you feel like your piece is. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. But if a nigga downstairs talking gangster, I don't think I want to go downstairs and see what that man.
So pretty much, when you say it like that, though, then it's like what is understood don't have to be said. What is understood don't have to be talked about. Right?
I just feel like certain energies I'm not approaching.
So that's like on that one. It's like what is understood. You don't have to say it. It's like, okay, I know what time it is. I ain't saying that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know what time it is.
Only conversations I'm willing to have outside of with my friends and close people I'm talking to all the time are conversations that's going to resolve, it's going to get something done. If it's a problem, if a conversation is had, my only goal is to solve this problem. I'm not sitting here trying to act like the problem don't exist. Like, let's talk about the Cowboys so we can act like we're not beefing. No, I literally want to sit here and talk about
that's a problem. Yeah, that's
exactly
a problem.
What the problem was, no matter how big or small it was. As long as this wasn't something to where I feel like me coming to you about this problem, you might say something to kick some other shit off, or I might get in my feelings and kick some other shit off. Like, one thing about me knowing myself and us knowing ourselves would be knowing your temptations. Sometimes my temptation is my mouth. And a lot of times my mouth says things that I can't back down from once they come out my mouth. You know what I'm saying? So if I walk into a disrespectful situation, I'm 0 to 100. I told you that.
Well, so you could say that. Well, I ain't gonna lie. When it comes to your wordplay, on that, I wouldn't even call it temptation. I call it still a weapon. We have weapons in this world to protect ourselves. I'm not saying to humble yourself. And you know me. And this is how we gonna put the understanding. We ain't gonna talk about humbling ourselves for nobody, for no man. And I'm like, I know how you can go off with your mouthpiece. I know.
I say things if you're a man and stand on business,
yes, sir,
you're going to stand on business in that moment. And I don't do it because I think I'm tough. I do it because of my pride and my ego would get in the way where I couldn't control. I would be more emotional than mindful. Because if I was mindful, like I told my nephew this not too long ago. I say, dog, I've been the nigga that done said something to a nigga with a gun in his hand and done regretted it right after it came out my mouth. Like, damn, I literally just told that. Real talk, but that's how I come off. You know what I'm saying? I'm either going to say nothing, but once I start talking, I'm saying the most disrespectful shit I can say. And that's something I learned about myself and I worked on to where I got myself up out of that. But I also know that I can be tempted into those situations. I do know if a nigga is talking a certain way, like, and this is how I think about shit too. I say, how am I used to dealing with this problem and what are the other ways of dealing with it? So if I'm used to fighting because a dude got not fighting, but getting into an altercation every time somebody tests me as a man, right? What are my other options? I'm not calling the cops on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna go get the niggas and we pack the nigga out. Like, so I be still asking myself, what are my options? Okay, you can separate yourself from this person, this situation. But what if the person you can't separate yourself from them because they live right there? So I feel like I be in a situation, or I could be in a situation sometimes to where it's like, the only thing can protect me is God, because.
Well, if you tried like a declaration of peace with the man and he did not want to compromise with the terms of whatever it is, and your hand is forced. I get you. You have to. Yeah, I get you on that one. So
To be honest, I never declared peace because that was never my place. I never declared war because it ain't that serious. But bro is tweaked out. Was tweaked out. I'm using it in past tense because bro been actually chilling the last few times I seen him. Bro was tweaked out. And
when you tweaked out, you
I ain't got nothing to do with no tweaker. I'm not trying to provoke you. I'm gonna stay out your way. But I'm not finna like capitulate or bow down on what you got going on. You down there having a temper tantrum? Be my guest. You can throw all your shit around, slam as many doors as you want down there. But I just don't want any energy directed towards me or anything up here that comes up these stairs for me.
So as a man, you gotta stand ground.
I'm gonna stand ground. I ain't got no choice. If I had a choice, shit, I'd move to goddamn away from the nigga or get him goddamn away from me. But since I ain't have a choice, I ain't got no choice but to play Fortnite.
I was actually gonna do a recommendation for us to like bring the system out here.
We can.
And play some Fortnite and whatnot. But like we pretty much 21 minutes into the show and everything like that. It was just a little introduction show. We could still keep running it. What you want to do?
21. Can you do something? That nigga Drake still that nigga, dog. We gonna talk about Drizzy, nigga. Nah, fucking what's your back to
no,
our
we ain't
serious
talking about
talk,
that
though.
nigga. We ain't gonna talk about that nigga, man.
Drizzy, man. Still
I do have to give my own
opinion on his album.
I haven't heard it. I only heard it from many people. So I'm gonna listen to it. Lately on the music tip, man, I really been listening to that new, I've been listening to that new Larry June, 2 Chainz Alchemist album, which I'm very impressed with 2 Chainz on it. Like, Larry June stays on an Alchemist beat, but 2 Chainz, I'm like, man, why, man? But 2 Chainz is more mature, so it's like it's more appropriate. As I've been looking at my playlist and I've been evaluating my playlist and everything, I'm like, oh, I listen to a lot of adult music where kids would not listen to this shit. Like music about old crimes, the old crimes of the 90s and shit like that, to where it's like, nah, these old niggas are talking about investments and whatnot, getting your money up. Only I feel like only young intellects will listen to my playlist.
Yeah, I listened to like 3 or 4 songs from the album. It was nighttime, and the album starts off slow, like R&B ass shit. So I ain't gonna lie, it was like I was listening to it at nighttime it was like midnight almost. Right?
Who's the artist?
It was the Drake album.
What's the name of the album?
Sexy Songs for You.
Oh, that's the new one with him and on Party Next Door.
Party Next Door, yeah. I listened to like 4 songs, but like I said, it started off with the R&B, and I cannot listen to no fucking slow ass shit.
I'm getting tired of R&B.
Where I'm trying to actually listen to it and learn, like hear it for the first time, so I have to like just zone out on it. Ain't no R&B I can just sing to while I'm coloring and shit. No, I gotta fucking sit here and listen to this nigga sing, and then I just wasn't, and then I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't into it, man. Like, I'm gonna get back and listen to it again. More than likely, I'm gonna listen to it when I'm on my way to out of town. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll sound better when I listen to it in the morning time, opposed to trying to listen to it before I go to bed. Yeah,
you made me think about it too. I might as well just get the sketch pad and the pencil out. Start drawing and try to
color your pictures.
I got a coloring book, dog. I got a Star Wars coloring book. I just had it in the house.
I got a coloring book, but I don't have a Star Wars coloring book.
Yeah, I had bought this one at Joe V's. It was just sitting there 1 year. It was like a year ago. It was just there, and I said, fuck it. And I just picked it up and bought it.
Yeah, and I do actually what I consider therapeutic coloring. It's no competitive coloring. It's no, I'm trying to make the prettiest picture coloring. It's a thing where I literally sit down, put my headphones on high, sit at the dining table. I put a ring light on back, like reflecting down on it, cut all the lights off in the living room, and I just zone out, bro. I be so high, and I usually have my best coloring sessions between midnight and like 3-4 in the morning, where I'm just sitting there vibing to some music. Got a blunt, I'm just going outside, hitting every couple hours, go outside, tap that bitch a few times, go back inside, color, jam out, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. And I sit there and get nothing done. I swear to God, I sit there and feel like I done color for 3 hours straight, bro. And I look up and be like, bro, it look like I just didn't spend no time on the shit. So one, you know how detailed coloring is. So that shit takes a while to get that shit in there. And then another thing is, when you got a fucking picture with 100 different things on there to color, you just sitting there staring at shit like, what color am I gonna color this shit? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just start coloring this shit, and then when I start coloring things around it, I'm like, man, that would have been cool if it was blue. That's what I had done my first picture, and I promised myself after the first picture, I said, bro, I ain't rushing in no more pictures.
Yeah, you gotta take your time when it comes
to
art.
I just take my time.
When it comes to art, you gotta really take your time with art, because I realized like now if I try to draw something, it's been a long time since I started really drawing something, and I have a project that I want to do, dealing around with Pokemon and whatnot, right? And it's like I want to get back to where I was. Oh, that was it?
That was What About Pictures. I could
create your own sunshine. That's not bad, but that's a lot of shit you gotta color.
Yeah.
No wonder.
That's what I say.
That's a lot of shit you gotta color. That's like a lot of shit. That's a lot. But like, oh man, you just got me off my I'm back on my thought train. Alright, so it's like I've realized when I was younger though, whenever I wanna draw, but it's like it's not coming out like how I want to, like right now, right then and there. But I just realized I haven't done this shit in years. But when I was younger, most of my best pieces are pieces that took me like a week to finish. You feel me? And now I've get back to this point where it's like, cause you know, like I said, I've been getting back to who I really am. And I'm thinking like, yo man, I think you need to just take your time on the work and then it'll be done when it's done. Yeah. It's like the alchemist making a beat. He never knows when he's done. He just gotta stop. But all right, man. So we're done right now for today, bro. We'll be back with another episode. Since this was titled Self-Love, the next one will be, I guess, Self-Discipline. I guess. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one, peeps.
Peace.